think. March the 3rd or 2nd?
3rd.
3rd, thank you.
See, this is where in here, the difference, like it had, where the different pronunciations on how to say it.
Yeah.
Like it was like.
So one of the main things associated with many pronouncements in all of this is that you really
Venus.
you put energy into it, so you vibrate it.
She's got it. She's got it.
And so these change a bit depending on what you're talking about and what. Like he uses many of the same words, only the combinations are slightly different. And
Yes, I noticed that.
Oh, this kind?
Yeah, no, and the lesser banishing.
The lesser banishing is different. This is the supreme invoking that we're doing.
Okay.
So they're two different things.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So the banishing ritual is just one pentagram for each quarter. And there's a fancy way and there's a basic Wiccan way. And in the Wiccan way, you just do the banishing pentagram for Earth all the time, for all quarters. You don't switch it up for the different elements.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure which one, but there's the banishing. So, but banishing is is you're shooing things. You're banishing things, which is not what we want to do for bringing the energy. I have this little kind of personal thing where I mentioned in the past that I don't like to banish much unless something really calls for it, like I'm trying to banish a person or something.
Well, the magical term banish is different from the political term banish.
Well, it's both sending something away.
Yes.
Yes. How do you? But of course, if somebody is banished from a country, that's like there's legal repercussions. They can never come back, or banished from this or that.
Yeah.
But
Normally, would you?
Well, that's kind of what I meant.
yeah, when you're banishing
Starting
elemental or a
grounded
feeling, yeah, it may come back
You're
again.
not
But
saying,
So we're
Yeah,
working
maybe
go
that's
to
like
Kuala
the one
Lumpur and
that's
don't come
coming
back.
out.
it's not.
Yeah.
to
It's not.
enlighten.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah, I
start
understand.
To banish, you can banish something. You're just banishing it for the
And
here and
work
now, and
the
you can
way
invoke
up.
it again later. But I don't banish much. It's like I'd rather kind of confuse the veils and have all this stuff more and more imminent and.
So David, do people normally, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is it like the other chakra system, the Eastern chakra system, where some people, when they're studying the chakras, start at the bottom, some people start at the top and work their way down, some people start in the heart and work their way
Out.
up and then down.
Yeah.
So just what's your take on
Well,
that?
we're starting at the bottom.
Yes.
But then once we complete them, we're gonna do the paths starting from the top. So I like to just, whenever I'm doing any kind of magical working or even a tarot reading, it's always, I've often stood with people in a circle in a Wiccan context or something, or witchy things going on, and they say, we're going to ground now, bring energy, imagine energy going through your feet into the earth, and I never do that. I always think and even if somebody does that and I'm with a group, to myself, first I'm starting up here. I'm starting with the light. I'm starting with the higher energy. I say a little prayer, whatever, to start with some sort of higher energy before I start grounding. And to me, that's what I learned. It's a good way to always, unless you want to do some really kind of gray magic or something, then maybe you don't want to start with the highest.
Well, a lot of the
But
ceremonies
otherwise-
I've participated in where people have often driven a long distance to get there.
Yes.
And this is the first ceremony, and you want them to connect to the earth where
Yes.
they are,
Yes.
roots down and ground like that.
Yes.
Let go of the drive in the city and the traffic and all
Yes.
that. So we just start with
The roots.
the roots. Though in other workings we do
the higher, and then but I then do the roots.
Yeah,
too.
and that breathing thing you've done where you breathe in, hold it, breathe
Yeah.
out, hold it, I've done that. Grounding.
There's a grounding too.
Hold your breath for those few
It's
seconds.
calming too.
When you have to hold your breath for those few seconds, either inhaling or
Yeah.
exhaling, you're not thinking of anything else.
No,
Right there in the
worrying,
minute.
Yeah.
I went to a workshop when I was with the provincial government. I don't know, I went to a workshop about 10 years ago or something. And this guy started talking about, now we're going to do some meditative breathing, and I want you to breathe in to a count of 4 and breathe. And I started to, I don't know, is anyone familiar with this? And I said, yeah, that's what we call the 4 square breath. And, you know, like, yeah, it was quite.
Doesn't everybody know?
Yeah, he's like, oh, someone knows. Oh, I wasn't expecting that from some.
Oh, it's top secret. I'm hoping to make hundreds of dollars off
It's
this.
top secret. Tell everyone.
So Venus, Netzach. I'll just start talking. The 7s in the tarot.
Are we going?
We're on.
Okay.
Then on.
All right, good thing I didn't say anything rude.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll
Thanks.
start with Wands. 7 of Wands.
Oh, I forgot my own water. I'll be
Early
right back.
deck. Oh, what's this? This cool deck Dallas has here.
That's the, this is the one that Robert really liked.
7 of batons. Wands. Yeah, this one's
Initiatory Tarot of the Golden Dawn.
Oh, heavens,
Yeah,
really?
good.
So,
It's a little hard to discern that image.
well, you have to
Camera.
move it up maybe a little bit.
You have the candles in the top.
Yeah. 7 of Wands. 7 of Swords. 7 of Wands, Crowley has labels of keywords on the bottom, of course, and Valor. 7 of Swords, he calls futility. However, I don't think it's so much about futility. What we and then even more severe, the 7 of Pentacles or coins, Crowley calls futility, futile. And we always love the 7 of Cups, which he calls debauch.
That's in debauchery.
As in debauchery,
Yeah.
yes. So we have some other.
What was the wand one?
7 of Wands, Valor. The idea here is, I guess we got to get into the Netzach and the 7s. Last week, it's good to maybe start by looking at it as a contrast. So last week we were talking about Hod and Mercury, and the symbol is the hermaphrodite, and this Hod is ideas and categorization and specifics in the mind, mental stuff. The 7s, and opposite that is Venus is in the tree of life, it's passion. So here's that passion and reason. Or passion and reason. We have I'm just gonna. There's a few things I want to read, so I think I'll start with that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
The astral triangle, correct?
Yes,
The
thank
last
you.
sphere of the
The
astral.
last sphere, so it obviously makes that triangle with the 4 spheres Sephiroth in them.
And there's 2 triangles.
It's 2 triangles, it is.
One
One inside the other, pointed downward. So what this is if 3 dimensions is the bottom one, Malkuth, you have 3 paths going up. So you can look at this as we're being stuck in or being in the simple life of thinking we are just 3D, we're just organic, kind of created through billions of years of evolution, just lucky, just the fluke, the luck of the draw. And if all you recognize is 18th century science, that cause and effect, 3D, stuck in time, you don't have a soul, there's no spirituality, that's it, it's 3D. Clockwork universe, thank you. That's Malkuth. That's the 3D stuck in time, Earth. Physical reality. So what we're looking at is 3 paths, 3 ways to elevate our awareness out of being stuck in that mechanical universe, being just a nothing in a big mechanical universe. So one way is to Mercury, through the mind. Another way is Yesod, through the dreams and intuition, those inner experiences that we have. Another way is up to Netzach, or Venus, which is passion. So it's Venus is that idea of, if we're looking at it in isolation, of course it can't, because it's when in human context, it's always a matter of balance. There's always these polarities. There's all these other factors. But if you look at Venus in isolation, it's about Netzach. It's about that passion that's going to motivate you to be more, or motivate you to be crazy. It's, acts of passion are always kind of thought of to be, well, that was stupid, but it was an act of passion.
Great.
So it is another way that we are drawn up out of the mechanical universe. Yes. We'll talk about I want to read the Sephroth Netzach stuff about it and stuff. So it has to do with Netzach itself as a word in Hebrew translates as victory. Victory. It has to do with the 4 sevens in the tarot. It's about love, but not the love of the heart. It's the love of what's in it for me love. It's not unconditional love. It's conditional love. Feelings and instincts. The group mind, but not the group mind around ideas, the group mind around passions and feelings. Nature, the arts. Symbols, the rose, the lamp. It also says the girdle, but that's like, I don't want to really get into these Masonic symbols right now. It's kind of a bit superfluous and not self-explanatory. The planet Venus, the color green. The beings of Chesed and Gevurah meet in Netzach. So I'll just reach over behind you. Hesed and Gevurah. So that's Hesed and Gevurah meet in Netzach. And thence in Netzach arises a green, pure, brilliant, liquid and gleaming like an emerald, which is actually more the yellow and the blue. So I don't know why they focus on the Mars, Gevurah, because it's more like from Tifreth and Hesed. Make the blue and the yellow making the green. The sphere of its operations is that of Noga, which means Venus in Hebrew, or external splendor, producing zeal, love, harmony, and it ruleth the sphere of action of the planet Venus and the nature of the vegetable world. And Jehovah Zabaoth is a god of hosts and armies. So when we're doing the middle pillar, we're saying Hebrew god names for the spheres. So the Hebrew god name for this one, which is not, you maybe haven't heard yet, and it's Jehovah Zabaoth. I have that written down here, if you actually kind of, or you have it in your book. Zabaoth, God of hosts and armies. of triumph and of victory, ruling the universe in justice and eternity. And its archangel is Haniel. So we had Gabriel in Yesod, we had Michael in Hod, we had Sandalphon in Metatron, Sandalphon mostly in Malkuth. So most of those might be angel names you've heard before, and certainly Michael and Gabriel. But this guy, or probably feminine more archangel is Haniel. Haniel. The Prince of Love and Harmony. And the name of the order of angels is the Elohim. So this is a pattern we're following with each of these Sephroth. Yes?
I thought there were 4 archangels who were the highest among the Elohim.
So there's 4 archangels that are in charge of our quarters or our spatial universe. Then there's another archangel. There's an archangel for every sphere.
Okay.
So there's more.
Earth and water, fire.
There's earth, fire, and air archangels for all these guys. So this is the first, just kind of a new name, but it's Haniel. And then the other pattern I'm trying to convey here is for each sphere and each planet, there's the God name, Yehovah Tzabaoth in this case. Then there's the archangel, Haniel in this case. Then I'm also mentioning for each sphere the order of angels. So you have your archangel in charge of a bunch of angels, order of angels. And this order of angels is called the Elohim, which is gods who are also called the order of principalities. So it's interesting. They have a heck of a lot of different gods in this supposedly one God religion.
Well, actually, you look at the 10 Commandments, it doesn't say there are no other gods. It says you shall have no other gods before me.
Before me, yes.
That assumes there are others.
There could be other ones
standing behind.
next, behind, or around. Each of the Sephiroth on the Pillar of Mercy begins a sequence. Chokmah is the primary force towards manifestation in the supernal triangle. Then Hesed, the idea behind the first form. And then Netzach begins the astral triangle and is the first Sephiroth of making up the personality. Personality is viewed as being composed of 4 elements, each of which is represented by one of the lower Sephiroth. This is a reflection of the familiar Yod He Vav He formula and the familiar sequence of fire, water, air, and earth. These are the astral elements. Netzach is fire, a lower form of the Yod fire of Chokmah. Hod is water, a lower form of the water, He water of Binah. Yesod is air, and Malkuth is earth. So I'm not going to worry about that. Where Netzach is feelings and instincts, Hod is intellect. Netzach is undifferentiated, Hod is Netzach. Hod is the beginnings of individualization and individual mind. It's, I don't want to read anymore. I'd rather just kind of talk about it. And with the tarot, if we think of this green sphere, Yesod Venus, Netzach Venus, being passion, being qualified love. Where does that, more like sexual love, more like that kind of passionate love. And it's also the passion of the arts and that sort of need for creative self-expression. Also really tied to nature, Mother Nature, if you will. That you get this idea of this life energy. So it's before the reproductive of Yesod, before sexuality, but it is this idea of this passion. So in the tarot, when you have the Seven of Wands, it's going to be fire in this fiery sphere of passion, and it works well. So it's called valor. It's about being brave. It's about the Seven of Wands. If you're familiar with the tarot, it all comes up, and for me, it's always a pretty positive thing. But it's I didn't bring the of the traditional Rider-Waite deck, and people will remember it as being the fellow standing up above other staves, seems to be in a conflict with them, but he's got the higher ground. So the idea here is that it's this passion. So you can imagine, well, this person, he's excited. He's in a conflict, but his position is good. If he wanted to, he could just walk away and leave those other guys down there. But to be in this sort of situation, and obviously he's getting excited. It's exciting. It's exciting. And that's kind of the key word here. It's exciting. So the Seven of Wands is really about that sort of excitement. It's the excitement that an actor feels, if even the seasoned actor getting butterflies or having to hurl before they go on before a big show. Or it's that passion of being ready, being in a competition, and you have a chance, and there's that excitement. It's sort of that excitement of I'd like to think of it as it's like the 13-year-old boy is actually phoning a girl he likes, and all those feelings that are so hard but so exciting, and so terrifying at the same time. Yes, terrifying, but nonetheless, the passion is there to see it through. Even if he sounds goofy, he's gonna do it. So that's this Seven of Wands. The Seven of Swords, now, if you put swords, the intellect, into passion, what happens when you put intellect into passion? You diffuse the passion. When you I have all these passionate feelings, I'm going to figure them out. Well, as soon as you got them figured out, there's not much left.
Yeah.
And it's part of the creative process too. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
something I got this creative impetus and these brilliant vision, and then after kind of a year of trying to spell it out and working out all the details, well, this part doesn't quite fit with that part in my story, and it's, where's the passion gone? It's like too much figuring out. So that's the Seven of Swords, and Crowley calls it futility, but I've seen it represented in the tarot as like a scientist doing experiments. The scientist knows he's doing experiments, and if you, like the alchemist doing experiments, and if you know anything about scientific method, it's based on failure. Scientists love failing because they take notes and then it's for the next time. Then I know more about the next time. Scientific method is based on failure, learning through failure. The Seven of Swords then is this intellectualizing a situation of excitement. So in the idea of somebody stealing swords from an encampment in the common Rider-Waite deck, what you have is, the encampment represents what? Military, it represents war, this great compassionate, not compassionate, the opposite of compassion, but violent passion. And this person is like stealing the weapons. So it's about that intellectualizing, and it can have a connotation of being sneaky. If you get water in the passions, like the emotions in the passions. So that's when Crowley calls it debauch or debauchery. So it's like overindulgence. It's like over emotional. It's over it's too much of this watery element. For one thing, it ends up dousing the passion. It's like an overboard of feeling that can actually douse the passion, the fire. And then, of course, Earth, Crowley really doesn't like it. You know, some people really see these tarot cards of the Seven of Pentacles, and it's the gardener leaning on his hoe and looking at his vine or whatever, and these 7 pentacles on it. What's he doing? He's not doing nothing. He's waiting. He's waiting for it to grow. He's waiting to see if it grows, what kind of crop he's going to have. So Crowley, however, calls it failure because it is grounding that passionate energy before it's expressed, before it's ready. When you get Earth grounds things. Earth stabilizes things. Passion of Venus doesn't do very well grounded. You know, it can come up as kind of sensual. It's sensual, but it's not growing. It's not the creative. So looking at Venus then, and because traditionally you think Venus, the goddess Venus, and it's like emotional and sweet and stuff. Well, Venus and Netzach in the Tree of Life is not sweet. Venus in Netzach is not the highest, but it's a higher human expression of that fire of passion and the fire element in our lives, which is the excitement and the enjoyment, and some of it's always about expanding yourself, doing more. Can I do more than I'm comfortable with? It's about taking that step. It's about being brave. But of course, remember, it's also about aesthetics and love. But again, there's a difference between, which we'll get into at some later date if you guys are still around. But here's Venus, here's love, here's the heart. So, and this happens to be the death path between them. It's the death path that connects the love that the Dalai Lama is talking about, and the love that Kim Kardashian is talking about. There's a difference there,
Yeah.
and the difference is the heart love, the compassion. The difference between passion and compassion is the ego death.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when it's egoless, it's compassion. When there's ego involved, it's passion.
It's pity. No, it's a different.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the term compassion means shared, co,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Co.
understanding.
Yeah. Co-passion.
Yeah. That, as the same. I pity you. You're actually an American. Or having passion for you. That's a difference between those two. But,
Mm-hmm.
Passion, I see as a very different. So even though it has the same root in the words, I think it's a very different energy.
A different energy.
Yes.
So can a person with ego have passion?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Lots, yeah.
How can they have compassion?
Yeah.
That's different.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's harder.
I'm not sure about that. Compassion does not filter through ego.
No, it comes through ego as pity.
Yeah, thank you. It comes through ego as pity,
Yeah.
not empathy.
Right.
And that's the difference.
See what our people on there are doing? Have a quick look. Hearing at
They joined and love it. Okay.
So that means everything's
working.
coming through okay then. Great.
So I'm going to put these tarot cards on the altar. And any other ideas, or should we just get started? I think there's one other big point to make here. That is.
Can we see the cards? You can pass them
Oh, yes.
this time.
that comes up in a lot of the books is that the Venus symbol, of course, is the medical symbol for female. But if we look at it, this idea here is that the Venus symbol, the circle is here, big circle holding these 6 spheres, and then the bottom 4 spheres make the cross. So the idea that the Venus symbol fits on the tree of life, and so the Venus symbol, somehow the Venus idea concept encompasses the whole.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. There's an image of it.
Oh, I got one right here.
Do you have it open? I just
I got
glanced through it. Do you? 4 people.
There.
Yeah, it covers the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's left
All
out.
of
This
the-
encompasses all in Sephroth.
Yeah.
Many in the one.
Women get to be so complete.
That's weird. But
That's why we've been trying to keep you guys under control for thousands of years. If you knew how powerful we were, we'd be done.
Well, that's when the men started to get upset at the women having in the matriarchal
Yeah.
societies and the goddess worship, and that's when they decided that they would rise up because we didn't have
Yeah, I think
women
that-
in charge of everything, you know.
yeah. It's clear to me.
So should I start?
go ahead. Unless you need the cards.
No, we'll get that one.
That's the lighter stuff.
And I am going to need that one. I'm going to need that one because I don't have that one.
Oh, and
Yes.
for doing the direction,
Oh, does anybody want to do a direction?
I will,
Okay,
definitely, so give me something to do, because I don't have them memorized either.
Anyone else want to do a direction?
I can try the one again, but you'll have to help me again. But I know how to close the curtain now.
Okay.
Yay! You've been
So-
practicing at home, closing curtains?
So fire?
Sure, I'm good with fire. I don't just,
Yeah, you're good with fire. You got Sun conjunct Mars. You can handle that.
Well, I got Leo up there in your heaven too. So.
That's okay.
My life is surrounded by Leos. So.
So is this one what I did correctly?
I certainly hope
Yes.
so. You don't want me to look bad because of you.
you.
Don't
Too late
make
for that!
Don't make me look bad. Oops.
Okay. Call upon the goddess and the god, the lady and the Lord, to bless this, our temple. We are connecting to the energies of Venus, Netzach, on the tree of life. Oh, I never did get that rose stuff, did you?
It's over there on the
Yeah, you took it from me earlier.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
with the other incenses.
Yeah.
Just careful to don't.
So
touch
the
it.
scent is rose, and I'm just going to dip a bit on the handle. What's the strong smell? Oh,
Yeah, pass that one around.
yeah.
I know what it smells like.
Oh, that's where we're going.
Lovely.
Strong. And so let us commence with setting up the temple with the rose cross. Hekes, Hekes, este Babyloi. Ate, Malkuth, Vegabora, Vegadula, Leola, Am. Amen. So be it. Yeheshua. 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 Yehosha Yod-Heh Shin Vav-Heh. Ayin Arai Yod Nun Resh Yod. Sign of Osiris slain. El, the sign of the morning Isis. V, the sign of Typhon Apophis. X, sign of Osiris risen. L, V, X, Lux, light, light at the cross. Virgo, Isis, mighty mother. Scorpio, Apophis, destroyer. Soul, Osiris, slain yet risen. Isis, Apophis, Osiris. Iahu, Exarpeo Koema Nanta Bieteoem. May the divine light descend. Eheye Yorevahe Elohim Yorevahe Levadaat Shalayel Chay Adonai Haaretz. May the divine light descend. So be it. Te Malkuth Vegabora Vegaduna Leila Am. Amen. So I'll start with the east, air in the east. Okay. Yaxarpeye. Open. Uroibaeozodpi. Jehovah. Hail Raphael, Archangel of the east and of air. So be it.
Oh, that's pretty snazzy. I like that one. Okay.
From top.
Oeptia pedoce Elohim. Hail Michael, Archangel of the South.
Water. Hakoemagla. Emper Selgayur. Al. Hail Gabriel, Archangel of Water, your west. Is that? Okay.
So we're starting here.
No, you start at the bottom here, number
Over
one,
there.
and then sideways.
Sideways?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you help me pronounce?
Okay.
Na,
Ta.
ta,
Non-ta. Agala in the center.
agala,
Then close.
close the veil.
Now, this one is top to lower left.
This
Yeah,
way?
yeah.
Okay. Or this way?
Emor dial hekega.
Primordial
hekega. Adonai, Taurus in the middle. Adonai.
Adonai.
Yes. And walk like an Egyptian. Hail, Uriel.
Uriel.
For us, Raphael behind us, Gabriel to the right hand, Michael to the left hand, Uriel. About us flames the pentagram, and in the column shines the six-rayed star. As above, so below. This evening, of course, so to that end, I'm going to invoke Jehovah Tzabaoth and Venus. And, okay. Venus is in Aries, and the Netzach is fire, so I'm going to do it. Just rationalize to myself why I'm doing it to the south. And so unicursal hexagram, here we go. Tricky. Yehovah Tzabaoth. Ararita Yod. Archangel Haniel. Elohim. Venus. And to enter the energies of Venus, be with us in our temple and give us understanding of her passionate nature. May our feelings be refreshed in this working. So I'm going to talk us through the usual. And so relax. Look at the light sphere of light atop the head. Breathing deeply into your own count. Pause out to the count of 4. Pause into the count of 4. Pause. Try to establish a full, deep 4 square breath while we imagine at the same time the sphere of light atop the head. Its God name is Bring the light energy down through into the body to form a lavender orb of light in the throat area. His name is Yehovah Elohim. Lavender orb of light in the throat.
Yehovah Elohim.
Yehovah Elohim. Bring the light energy down into the chest behind the solar plexus to form a golden yellow orb of light. The light of Tifereth, beauty, the heart. Yehovah Elovedah.
Yehovah Elovedah. Yehovah Elovedah.
Bring the light energy down further into the body to the groin area where it forms a purple orb of light. Shaddai El Chai. Light of light.
Shaddai El-Chai.
Purple orb of light in the groin. Shaddai El Chai. Bring the light energy down to the feet of the root, where it forms a russet orb of light, connecting us with our earth, and the physical light and the physical spirit and matter. Adonai Haaretz.
Adonai Haaretz.
Adonai Haaretz. Bring the attention to the top of the head, the white light aura at the top of the head. On the exhale, bring light energy down through the left side of the body to the foot chakra. On the inhale, bring up the light energy up through the right leg, up through the right side of the body to the top of the head. Exhale, light energy down through the left. Inhale, light energy up through the right. And on an exhale, bring the light energy down over the front of the body to the feet. And on the inhale, bring up light energy up through and along the back of the body to the top of the head. Exhale, light energy over the front. Inhale, light energy up along the back. And on an inhale, collect the light energy at the chakra at the feet. And on the exhale, release the light energy up through the middle of the pillar, up through the body, through the top of the head, to imagine it fountaining down around and through again, to be collected at the inhale. Inhale, collect light energy at the feet. Exhale, release the light energy up through the body, through the top of the head. Now we want to, if you like, you could go back to the tree, the place of comfort, in the mind's eye, place of comfort. But we want to work with the symbols of the Venus symbol, the symbol of the rose, the lamp, goddess Aphrodite and Venus, sphere of Netzach and passion. No rush, but back. Close. We thank the guardians of the quarters for their presence, protection, inspiration. Uriel, Gabriel, Michael, Rael, intelligences, energies, angels being called this evening, and Venus. If you must, stay if you will, this temple be closed.
Blessed be. Well now. How are people doing on the in the ethers?
They joined.
That's great.
A couple comments. Yeah. Okay. I know it tended to go kind of quick, and it went a little quick for me. So you probably could have. I mean, I think maybe last week we meditated longer. It's hard for me to tell. I miss the days when I actually wore a watch sometimes.
The good thing is timeless, you know, it's private.
That's right. It's private. I didn't get a heck of a lot of visual, but I do want to mention something. We got this whole portal opened up where I did the Venus hexagram in the south, and all this like being seemed more like a feminine, like a being of flame came in. And then when it was like the Pentecost, we all had fire on our heads. Little fires on top of our heads.
Mm-hmm. Great. I'm all for that.
And I don't know, it was maybe a little personal, but it was more about, for me, it was about gratitude. That sounds hokey. But it seemed to me, there seemed to be this equation almost, that if you want more passion, you just have more gratitude. And then the passion just is there. It's like, it's like if your perspective, the bigger the perspective, like, for myself, I mean, maybe some of you guys too would consider past lives being a reality, that we've lived through other lives, and ancestors being around, that there's consciousnesses, like on the other side of the veil is really busy. There's a lot going on. And that if you put it in that perspective of past lives and this like a larger awareness, I mean, even when if I'm going through something and I'm feeling sort of broke, I'm still more wealthy than any human has been for hundreds, maybe thousands of years.
Generally speaking, we live better. Lower middle class, upper middle class people live better than the kings and queens of old.
Yes.
Warm houses and
Good, healthy food.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
it's not, you don't have to cover all your meat in like 3 layers of salt so you don't die of a dysentery.
Well, don't go to the grocery store to get our food. We don't have to farm it.
Don't have to farm it or kill it or steal it or.
They had more consorts though.
You think? Not if you were in the church. Because that was the only way to get a loaf of bread. But anyway, there's just this thing about gratitude, about being, the opportunities that we have are just ridiculous compared to like past lives we've had.
We have cars
Cars.
instead of horse and buggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although you've got the horse, so
Yeah.
you're halfway there. We'll just bring the
Across the world in a few hours.
Yeah.
Couldn't
Well,
be
just
done.
basic concepts like what? Human rights. It's something pretty recent, last 100 years, if you're lucky.
Sleeping on a bed,
It's like actual bed.
not a floor or a blanket or
Not some
like,
street urchin in
Straw.
New York in 1830 or something.
Other than that.
electricity.
Yeah. Luxuries.
Yeah.
But somehow that this gratitude sense, I mean, it's getting a little off the mark, but is something about, it's like, it creates enthusiasm. I guess is another word for this passion, enthusiasm.
Yeah. Works for enthusiasm for an artistic art form, or whether you produce it or
Appreciate it.
appreciate it. It's
Mhm.
enthusiasm.
Which brings us back to the Venus quality and aesthetics and what's pleasing. Well, that's the whole key. What's pleasing, because what pleases,
We get Yeah.
I'm interested. Oh, I'm going to sit up straight. Oh, it's, yeah, hey. I'm interested. Yeah.
I went down into that tree and there was a room, as usual, but then there on the table there was a lamp and a green rose there. And I picked up the lamp and it illuminated a door in the wall that had a green rose on that I went through.
The rose itself was green?
Yeah,
Curious.
the rose itself
Cool.
was green.
Cool.
And I went through this like tunnel with this lamp, and then it opened up into a space that was all sorts of shades of green, and then it stopped. And then the other side was desolate and barren. And I thought, well, and there's a fence. Grass is greener on this side of the fence, right?
Yeah.
But then I started tellings of for the people on the other side, and what can I do to help them. And there were some guides there, and I was sort of just directed to just continue walking.
Yeah.
And I came to this large formal rose garden that was like a big circle, and it was divided in 4. And the roses in there were green, except they weren't all full of roses. There was like a section with like cups that, obviously, because some of the roses were cut, but the cut roses were in these goblets with
Yes.
water. And in the fire section were cuttings with new growth on them sticking in the ground.
Okay.
And
Like the
so-
different elements of different aspects.
Different aspects of this rose.
Right.
And I was contemplating that when we had to come home again.
Okay.
So after further contemplation, further further exploration of that new door down there
Okay.
is going to be interesting. It's like a hobbit door, you know,
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
round. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so sort of
So it
spherical.
was too short for you.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, that's what you get for being in a hobbit house.
Yeah, I guess, right? Right. That's right. That's right.
Lackadaisical hobbits is.
Yeah, hobbitsies.
It was really neat where I went because I went into the cave too, but there was like a natural spring in there, and it was like rose quartz everywhere in the water, and that's where I went down and I like bathed in the water, and there's like the floating roses. It was so beautiful.
Wow.
It smelled so nice. Yeah, I could go back there right now.
It's very, it was
Yeah, it was
keep
like
that.
a
You can
hot
go back
tub. It was like
anytime, yeah.
natural. Yeah,
nice.
yeah, it was really great.
Oh, it was even warm.
Oh yeah, it was warm. It was natural, like
Yeah.
hot springs. Yeah.
Medium hot. Definitely
Yeah.
hot.
It's interesting because I went in, and again, I was in a room that sort of more like a cave, and there was a circular pool. And Venus, there and a fountain behind her, and the fountain was coming over
Beautiful.
and around, and there were white and red roses in the water. And the water was sort of bubbling. Besides the fountain,
Yes.
there's actually bubbles that I saw as sort of passionate ideas bursting forth into this thing, that this pool
Yes.
was the source of that creative, even though it was water.
Creative inspiration
Yeah.
kind of through that.
Yeah. But it's very similar to what you saw.
Right.
Instead of a pool, it was a round fountain about this high off the ground, very small.
And I might also note that I was looking at the incense, proper smells and incense, and it's rose, and I think it was red sandalwood, which I don't have. But then Crowley also said that indica is associated with Venus. So
On that note,
on that note, thank you everyone.
hey everyone, if you want to put down, if you're comfortable with it, any thoughts that you may have had during the
Yeah, if anybody's had a meditation out there in
and wants to share
Wi-Fi
some of the
land,
details.
either you can message Dallas or I privately, or if you're bold, you could just maybe write some of your inspirations or meditation experiences in the group.
Share the group.
Share with the group. Thank you. Oh my God.